Looking back on how my life pulsed up and down, I can see the care you took in pulling me out. And with that force you shook.
Hey, it's Ben here. I've been looking for something to do to help with fitness since Jeff's been talking to us about losing to live. And one thing I thought was really cool was he said to find what works for you. And well, I did. Works on your glutes. There. Oh yeah. Thanks for watching.
Throwing stones and spitting gossip. With weights around your feet, you can't run the race. The Father waits. Everyone here can be sure of one thing: we're all in need. We're all in need of souls.
That's awesome. That was a total surprise, that little Ben bit. So today we're talking about friends. So Ben, I can't wait to do that together with you. Looks like a two-person exercise, doesn't it? All right. All right. We are in week 7, our final week of the series called Losing to Live. Alas, all good things must come to an end. And a lot of you are probably going, whew, it's about time. This series seemed to last forever because we've been challenging each other to get fit emotionally, to get fit physically, and to get fit financially as well. And I think maybe you've realized as you've gone throughout the series, if you've really tried to make changes in your life, that this is really a spiritual struggle. That getting fit is really a spiritual struggle. And it seems that the initial commitment and sacrifice that's required of us seems so great compared to the minuscule immediate benefits that we experience from trying to get our lives on track. And then you contrast that with how the negative consequences of not getting into shape don't seem that bad. They don't seem that bad when you compare it to the comfort and the instant gratification of just sitting on your couch and watching TV and playing video games and not eating healthy and overspending and all of these things. So the first challenge we have throughout this series has been to start, just to do something, to take that initial step to get healthy emotionally, to get healthy physically, to get healthy financially. And you guys deserve a lot of credit because I have just been amazed as I have watched so many of you take this series and immediately apply it to your lives. I've been inspired by you guys as you've been taking steps to really lose to live. Some of you I know have taken steps to get emotionally healthy. You made that doctor's appointment. You started seeing that counselor. Some of you have taken steps to get physically healthy where you've changed your eating habits. You've started a regular exercise routine. Others of you I know are taking steps to get financially healthy where you're making a plan to get out of debt. And that's been so inspiring to me. But here's the thing. The first challenge is just to start. You made it over that hump. The second challenge now is to keep it going. How do you keep it going? How do you keep going all of these great changes that you've made over the past several weeks? How do you keep this from being just another flash in the pan, well-intentioned, miserable failure like so many other things that we've tried over the years? Well, the answer to that is our 5th key to a fitter faith. Friends. Friends are the secret sauce that is going to hold all of this together as you lose to live. Friends are so critical. In fact, loneliness literally kills us. Loneliness literally kills us. Studies have shown that elderly people who are in a care facility and do not have friends and family that regularly visit them are not emotionally healthy, nor do they live nearly as long as people who have regular friends and family visiting them. There's a marked contrast between those two. Research also shows that the lack of relationships significantly affects our mental and our physical health. Loneliness increases the likelihood that you will engage in self-destructive behaviors like smoking or drug use or excessive drinking or overeating or overspending. On the same token, loneliness also decreases the chances that you will make good, healthy choices like exercising and eating well and praying and reading your Bible. But here's the most startling thing. Loneliness increases the risk of premature disease and death from all causes by 200 to 500%. Loneliness literally is killing us. There's a Jewish proverb that says, a friendless man is like a left hand bereft of the right. We aren't meant to be alone. We need friends. But see, it's not just any friends that matter. Not all friends are created equal. Not all friendships are life-giving. Friends have power and influence over us. Therefore, friends can be a good influence and have good power over us, or they can be a bad influence and have bad power over us. The Apostle Paul, writing in the first letter of 1 Corinthians, towards the end of the letter, he just makes this simple comment. He says, bad company corrupts good character. Bad company corrupts good character. And you see that play out in the issue of getting healthy. In a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers found that one of the strongest associations in the spread of obesity are the people that you spend time with. If you have a friend who is obese, you are 57% more likely to be obese as well. Now, if that friend is a close friend, it skyrockets to 171% more likely to become obese yourself. This is serious stuff. Habits are contagious. Good habits are contagious, and bad habits are contagious. So it's not just having friends that matters. It's having the right friends and having shared goals that matters. Because the truth is that our social circles create this culture of acceptance. If we hang out with people who eat healthy, we are much more likely to eat healthy. If we hang out with people who exercise regularly, we are much more likely to exercise regularly. On the same token, if we hang out with people who don't exercise, who overeat and overspend, we are much more likely to do the same. Our social circles influence us, and they have powers over us, and they create this culture of acceptance among us. The truth is that the friends that you have often determine the kind of person that you will become. The friends you have often determine the kind of person that you become. Research has proven that relationships have the power to change our overall health more than any doctor or any medicine ever could. So I know you're listening to this now, and a lot of you are getting ready to ditch your friends, thinking, man, that friend's totally bringing me down. You don't have to ditch your friends if they're unhealthy. What you have to do is you have to lead them. You have to set an example of what a healthy lifestyle looks like. You have to model for them what good choices and good behaviors look like. You have to challenge them, you have to encourage them, and you have to inspire them. Last week in the message they gave about how to get financially fit, finding financial freedom, we went to a man named Solomon a lot, who wrote much of the book of Proverbs in the Bible, great book of practical wisdom. He also wrote another book called Song of Songs or Song of Solomon, which is a love story between a man and a woman. And then he wrote a third book called Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is kind of a depressing book and a long word to say, but Ecclesiastes literally means teacher. And we're going to go back to that well, to Solomon today, because he not only has a lot of good things to say about finances, he has a lot of good things to say about friends. But before we get into that, let me just say, if you've missed any of the series, if this is the first time that you've been here or you've missed some weeks, just know that everything is available online on our website, epiphanystation.com. So you can go there anytime. You can download. You can watch them there on the computer on our website. You can also subscribe to a podcast. If you have iTunes, you can subscribe to the Epiphany Station podcast and have it delivered automatically to you all the time there. So this is what Solomon has to say in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 12. Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. This is a passage that I've used a lot of times when doing weddings. It's a great wedding passage. Heidi and I, my wife and I, had this passage read at our wedding. But it's not just about marriage. In fact, it's not about marriage at all. It can be, but it's about friendship. And in this passage, Solomon teaches us 4 things that we need to do to get fit with friends. And so we're going to go through those 4 things together. And if you want to take notes in your program, there should be an outline like this for you to take notes, and hopefully you got a pen if you want to just follow along. So here's the first thing that Solomon teaches us. How to get fit with friends is to encourage each other. Encourage each other. He says 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. Now, Nolan's in the back there in the sound booth, if you don't know Nolan. Him and I, since mid-December, have been getting up at 5:30 to work out together 3 mornings a week. And I don't know if you guys know this, but it's really cold and really dark at 5:30 in the morning. Some of you don't know that at all. You have no clue, but trust me, it's really cold and it's really dark at 5:30 in the morning. Now, we're working out at Nolan's house, so all he has to do is roll out of bed. I'm the one that has to climb out of bed, get up the nerve to go out into the cold, dark abyss at 5:30 in the morning. So this is why 2 are better than 1. Because I can't tell you how many mornings I wanted to not set that alarm. I wanted to turn the alarm off, hit the snooze, get up and go back to bed. There's literally probably every morning I go through this dilemma in my head after I get up, like, I should just text Nolan and tell him I'm not coming. I should just do that. No, I can't let him down. I can't let him down. So I get up the nerve and I go over to his house, venturing out in the 30 below temperatures, only to arrive at his house and find that he's still in bed. Not a fairness to Nolan, that's only happened once. But once is enough, Nolan. But the greatest encouragement comes when we're actually doing the workout together, because we're not just doing any workout, we're doing insanity, which, if you don't know, is exactly what it sounds like. It is completely insane, and I don't know why we're doing it. We have a death wish, obviously. So there is no way that I would do this workout by myself. There's no way I would even make it through half of this workout by myself. But we can help each other succeed and challenge and encourage each other to keep going and to come beside each other and encourage each other when one of us feels like we're going to die, which funny story almost happened to Nolan yesterday. Not literally, you guys are like, aw. But Tuesday it was my turn. I almost died. And so we kind of take turns encouraging each other and keeping each other alive. But every workout, I go through this kind of progression in my mind. I go through this progression, and we're starting out, and I'm like, okay, this is hard, but I can do it. And then we get to the next round, and I'm like, okay, this is really hard. I don't know if I can do it. And then we get to the next round, and then I'm like, this is so hard, I can't do it. And then I look over at Nolan. He's just over there with a smile on his face, not even sweating, hair still perfect. And I'm like, oh, I can't let him do this to me. I'm the pastor. I'm the one challenging us to lose to live. I have to keep going. And so in some sort of weird, twisted way, he encourages me to keep going, and I'm doing it just for you guys, okay? I'm doing it all for you. Obviously, this extends beyond just exercise. Whether you are trying to eat healthy, whether you are trying to get out of debt, whether you're trying to become emotionally whole, 2 are better than 1 every single time, because they can help each other succeed. And one of the best and most simple ways that you can just encourage a friend is to pray with them and pray for them. That's why every time we're doing Insanity, I'm praying the whole time, Lord, please just make this stop already. That's my prayer of encouragement. Here's the second thing that Solomon tells us about getting fit with friends is to hold each other accountable. Hold each other accountable. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help, but someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Now, here's the thing. We tend to think, we're in this kind of northern Minnesota culture, and we have this tendency to think that the worst thing that we could possibly do to a friend is to make them feel bad about themselves, to make them feel bad when they fail, when they fall down. And we think that the best thing that we can do is to make them feel good no matter what. You know, it's okay, that's all right, let's just keep going. But what if the reason they keep falling down is because they're making bad choices? What if their falling down is causing real, legitimate harm to themselves and to others? What if it is literally killing them? Is it really love then to just ignore the truth and to just enable them to keep on making bad choices? A true friend doesn't just accept us as we are all the time and say, hey, it's okay. A true friend will get in our grill and challenge us to something greater, challenge us to keep going and to make better choices. But here's something I've learned about accountability, and this is key. If you're going to have accountability with someone, you can't have accountability unless you agree together on what you're going to hold each other accountable for. The prophet Amos asked this obvious question. He says, can two people walk together without agreeing on the direction? Obviously, they can't, Amos. The key to accountability is agreeing together on the direction that you are going and then giving each other permission to speak the truth to you if ever you veer off course. Everyone falls from time to time. If you are going to take steps to get healthy, then you are going to fall sometimes. You are going to come up against the occasional failure. But as it's been said, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up that matters. And there are some friends who will just push you down, but a true friend lifts you up and holds you accountable, not by enabling your bad choices, but by empowering you to make good choices. Here's the last thing about accountability. I always tell people when you're looking for an accountability partner, it should be somebody you respect, somebody you trust, and somebody you fear. Okay? That third one is ultimately appointment. It's important. If you do not fear your accountability partner, you will not be held accountable. It has to be someone that you do not want to let down, no matter what. All right, the third thing that Solomon teaches us is to provide emotional support. Provide emotional support. Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? We have the tendency to read this literally, but it's not just about physical warmth. It's a cold and cruel world out there. And a lot of times we are facing circumstances beyond our control that we just don't know how we are going to get through it. And we need the emotional support of a friend to come behind us or beside us and to strengthen us and encourage us to keep going. Our emotional health is like a gas tank. Somewhere on that gauge, we're between empty and full. And we got to get filled up before we go empty or we're going to crash and burn. So we can go to those friends who fill us up and get that tank filled up again, and we're good to go. But there are some friends who just drain our tank. You know what I'm saying? They just drain the tank. And there are other friends who totally fill the tank. But see, a true friendship doesn't fill one tank by draining another. A true friendship, both tanks get filled at the same time. If you have a friendship where it's just totally draining you every time, it's probably not much of a friendship. It's probably more a counseling relationship. True friends do this. They share each other's burdens, the Apostle Paul says, and in this way obey the law of Christ. I shared this story a couple months ago, or this illustration, and I think it's worth sharing again, and Millie actually shared this with me before, but about Clydesdale horses. Clydesdale horses, are unbelievably strong. And they can pull one horse can pull about its own weight a little bit more, about 2,400 pounds on average, a Clydesdale horse can pull on its own. But if you yoke two Clydesdale horses together, they don't pull double the weight. They can pull almost 4 times the weight together, about 12,000 pounds. They can do so much more together, and so can you. So can you. We can carry a much heavier burden when we have a true friend alongside us because they can help carry the load. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to travel fast, go alone. If you want to travel far, go together. Here's the fourth thing. Empower one another. The fourth key to getting fit with friends is to empower one another. Solomon says a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. I started swimming again a couple weeks ago, and Skye, you can vouch for this. You saw me there once. So, started swimming after 15 months off, and which is kind of rough. And so my 10-year-old son, Tranquil, asked if he could go with the first time I was going back. And I'm like, well, I'm leaving at 6:30 in the morning. You probably don't want to go. He's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, okay. So I brought Tranquil with. And I'd set a goal for myself of doing 10 laps, which was a pretty lofty goal after not swimming for 15 months. And I struggled and fought and clawed for every lap to get to that goal. And when I hit 10, I was so done. I was so wiped out. And I looked at Tranquil and I said, okay, buddy, I'm done. Let's go home. And he said, I'm going to do a couple more laps. Like, what? And he said, well, I've done 6. I want to try and do 8. Like, oh, well, if you're going to do 8, I got to do more than 10. So I better swim a couple more. So I swam a couple more laps, and I'm just so tired. And he says, I'm going to try to make it to 10. And I'm like, what? Come on. So then I had to swim a couple more laps. To make a long story short, he ended up swimming 11 laps, which was further than I had originally intended to swim, and I ended up swimming 20 laps. He pushed me, he empowered me to swim twice as far as I thought was possible. In fact, over the past 2 weeks, he's gone swimming with me 3 times, and every single time he has pushed me to swim 20 laps. One time, I went without him. Guess how many laps I swam? 10. Absolutely. See, each one of us has more in us than we realize. God has placed potential in every single one of you that you have not tapped into. God has given you strength that you have yet to discover. A true friend brings it out of you. They challenge you and they empower you to go beyond what you think you can do, what you think is even possible. Solomon also says in Proverbs 27:17 that as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. The picture is that of 2 swords being used to sharpen each other like we do with knives. You use them to sharpen each other. You can. And so it's this picture of them rubbing together. But if you have a sword and I have a sword, does that make our swords both sharp? No. No, it doesn't. Just because you have a sword and I have a sword doesn't make them sharp. They have to be in close contact with one another. And here's the other thing. There has to be friction. There has to be friction in order to sharpen the swords. You can't empower somebody by staying out of their way and letting them do whatever they want to do. You empower them by being in a close relationship with them and creating some friction that challenges them to grow beyond where they are. It's been said that a friend is one who knows you as you are, understands where you've been, accepts who you've become, and yet still gently invites you to grow. True friends encourage us. They hold us accountable, they offer emotional support, and they empower us to go beyond what we think is possible. Now, throughout this series, we've been having some experts come in and share on things like nutrition and health and fitness. Today, we're going to hear on video from just an ordinary, average person like yourselves. And she's going to share with us a little bit about how this series has impacted her.
Hi, my name is Sherry Abbott, and my challenge was spiritually. I've been coming to ESTAT for about 6 months now, and a couple months back I decided to volunteer. But there were 2 things that I wasn't going to do. One was to sing, and that's for the benefit of the church, and to teach Sunday school. Not because I don't like kids, but because I didn't feel I was knowledgeable enough to teach others. I wasn't comfortable with that. What if I fail? And that was something that my OCD can't handle. So I was just going to bake treats and hold babies, and that seemed safe enough. But God had other plans for me. I came in for my training for treats, and before it began, I was asked if I would consider teaching preschool for Creation Station. They really had a need for that, as 3 teachers had just stepped down. And my first thought was, really, God? You've got to be kidding. This is the one thing that I know I can't do, and this is the one thing you're asking me to do. So I decided to try it for 3 months, and then I could always go back and hold babies. Well, I was wrong again. God had other plans for me, and recently I was offered to the position of Director of Creation Station Preschool. And my first thought was, like, seriously, God, you think I can do this? The director part I could handle. I've done that for 20 years, but the rest was something that I just really wasn't comfortable with. Then I remembered Jeff's sermon from the Slave to Crave message, where he talked about comfort versus God, and that God's comfort isn't something to make us feel better, but his comfort comes in the form of courage and to be brave and strong to do his will, to carry out his plan. And then it hit me like an epiphany. For the last 5 weeks, I had been teaching the kids Joshua 1:9, and it goes, be strong and brave because God is with you. And that was a pretty powerful sign that he gave me. So I've accepted God's challenge, and to prepare for this new position, I've been reading my Bible more, and I know God will give me the courage to be brave and go outside of my comfort zone to carry out his plan for me.
So the moral of the story is, if you sign up to bring treats, you never know what's going to happen. Well, as we conclude this challenging and annoyingly relevant series, as some have said, I want to invite all of you to take yet another big step on your journey to getting fit. Again, Solomon says this in Proverbs 18:24. One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. A few of us maybe have been blessed to have these lifelong, reliable friends. But I think the majority of us know much more the bitter sting that he's talking about of unreliable friends. Friends who are here when things are going great and then gone when you really need them. They're here when they need you, but then when you need them, you can't find them anywhere. Or maybe they just move away and you move on and you grow up and things change, life happens and everything, and you grow apart. That happens. What Solomon is saying is that friendships are kind of tenuous, that they can be unreliable because we're human, but there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother that will never leave you or forsake you, and his name is Jesus Christ. His name is Jesus Christ. He is the best friend possible. In fact, this is what Jesus himself says. He says that there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And then he went on to demonstrate that great love by dying on the cross. Jesus has proven himself already to be the most amazing friend. He has already proven himself to be sacrificial, to be generous, to be loving, to be kind, to be merciful, and to be fully committed to being your friend. And so, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you today. Maybe you've been here for a while, you've been checking us out, and you've made some friends here, and that's great. Maybe this is your first time here, and you came here because a friend invited you. That's awesome. But I want to challenge you today. If you've never accepted Jesus' friend request, I want to challenge you to receive that invitation today. I'm going to talk about that more in just a moment, but here's the second thing. If you can honestly say that Jesus is your best friend, then I want to challenge you to take another step in your friendships. Another step in your friendships. Here's what the end of that passage in Ecclesiastes says. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. That third cord is Jesus Christ. Maybe you have some good friends, but the relationships are kind of shallow. Maybe you have lifelong friends, but you never get beyond just the surface level. You hang out, you go fishing, you play video games, you go shopping, you talk about other people, whatever, but you never really get to the tough stuff. I challenge you to make Jesus the center of your friendships. Jesus will not only make you stronger, he will make your friendships stronger as well. If Jesus is not at the center of your friendship, then your friendship is not as strong as it could be, and it is not as strong as it needs to be. I started off this series 7 weeks ago by saying that the best gift that you can give yourself, that you can give your family, that you can give your friends, that you can give your employer, that you can give your church is to be healthy. And if your relationship with God is not healthy right now, that is where you need to start. So I want to, again, invite you. If you'd like to have a friendship with Jesus, if you would like to accept Jesus' friend request, to say, yeah, thanks for doing that for me, Jesus. I want to receive that, and I want to be a friend with you. Then I'm going to invite you to pray with me in just a moment. Before we do, I just want to say that there's nothing magic in the words. It's all about the heart. And this is just a guide, and it is only the beginning. What matters is where your heart is at. So I'm going to do something that I don't know if we've ever done here at Epiphany Station, but I want to ask all of you to stand up with me. And I'm going to invite all of you to repeat this prayer after me. If you want to receive this gift of friendship, and even if you already have, please pray with me. Jesus, thank you for wanting to be my friend. Even when I didn't know that I really needed you. I want to accept your invitation. I want to be your friend. And I realize that I've screwed up. And that my mistakes have separated me from you. Thank you for your undeserved gift of forgiveness. I receive that gift right now. And I ask that you would not just be my friend, but the leader of my life. Amen. Now, before we sing this last song, let me just say a couple things. First of all, if you prayed that prayer for the first time ever, it's the first time where you made a decision that you want to give your life to Jesus, then first of all, congratulations. That is the best decision that you could ever make in your life. Secondly, I'd like you to let me know. So there's a box on your communication card you can check. It says, I made a first-time commitment to Christ. Also, I would love to talk with you personally out at the welcome desk after the service as well. If maybe you've been on this road before and maybe you've been in church and maybe you grew up in church and you and Jesus used to be close, but you've drifted away. But today you said, I want to come back. And you prayed that prayer to say, Jesus, I know that I've strayed away and I want to come back today. Then would you check that box on your communication card that says that you're recommitting your life today? And then those communication cards you can either hand to me personally out there or you can drop them in the red box in the back of the room as well. And then also, if this is your first time here, please come see me afterwards. I'd love to get to meet you personally, and I have a gift to give you out there as well. And so today, whether you prayed that prayer for the first time, the 100th time, whatever, you can sing this next song with gusto, with confidence, and knowing that there is sweetness and freedom that Christ brings.